Hello, good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing? I hope you are all well. Sorry, I'm just trying to maneuver the old tripod. Well, everybody, good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? I'm going to be joined by my good friend Greg Ferns coming back on. We're going to have a little live chitter chatter this afternoon. So, yeah, we tend to serve fairly similar people. And helping and the busy professional women that we want to help, and so we do these lives just to add a little bit of extra value and just get different perspectives as well, to join in. So I'm hoping that he's going to be able to join in if he's there, and see where he's gone. Greg, where are you? Well, he was there. Maybe he's vanished. He's disappeared. I'm just hoping that he's going to, but I hope you're well. So yeah, there was a couple of things that we kind of seemed a bit topical, that are things that are going on at the minute. That one thing is around about, yeah, there's a lot of going on with the I don't like to say it, fat shaming. It sounds horrible, actually. I don't actually like saying that word, but that obviously on the back of some of the TV shows that are happening in the States, there seems to be quite a bit of that going on, and also as well then even with Little Mix and Jessie from Little Mix and her story as well, coming out about how she was kind of, I suppose, called all sorts really, and kind of abused, was on social media from their fame and from doing so well on the X Factor, and her kind of what happened to her. So there seems to be a lot going on, but I'm gonna see if Greg's about. Greg, are you there? Let me know if you're appearing. If he has appeared, not appeared. Here's a problem. So yeah, guys, so I was just going to do this, and one thing, from myself as well, we're going to talk about, carbs and low carb diets, and basically around about food tracking as well. So big thing that I do, and people may not like doing it, and they think that they're going to end up obsessed over calories and things like that by doing it, but actually, if you are looking to lose weight, the first kind of protocol, no matter who you actually go to, so whether you go to a personal trainer or a nutritionist or a dietitian of anywhere, they're going to start looking at your actual food intake. Obviously, a dietitian is more if it's clinically needed, as opposed to, not for nutritionists and personal trainers and that. So, and yeah, and it's one big area, and it's sometimes people don't like doing it because it feels like homework, and well, if you don't feel like doing it, you probably won't ever actually know why. Then maybe your efforts, or why you haven't quite reached your weight loss targets or anything like that. But if you haven't actually tracked your nutrition, it's impossible to understand and be aware. But not even that as well. Sometimes a lot of the women, particularly for myself as well, like I'm coming from experience in this one, until I actually started to understand and get to grips with what my own nutrition was like and what my own diet looked like. I was on and off diets for many, many years. And Greg, I don't know if you're about, but if you do. Sorry, I'm just seeing if he is around. Maybe not. That when I was on and off diets, you can get bombarded with you just following different things of different rules, and you never really understand why they've worked. Everything works based on just restricting your calorie intake in some way, but it's all through a strategy and rules and things like that, but without actually understanding why it happens, and whether those rules actually need to be used, or whether you and whether it actually works for you. Yeah, you'll just stick with it and then you'll lose the weight, but once you stop it, then without actually knowing and understanding why that happened, then you usually end up kind of just rebounding really, or they were so restrictive that you actually didn't know why you had to do it so restricted, but you just followed the rules, and you just rebounded then. And it doesn't have to be that way. Everyone thinks it's got to be difficult, and it's got to be, you've got to really, some of it might be tough to a certain extent. Anything new is tough. Like anything you're starting out, anything new is always going to be tough. But doing anything like that is really going to be, it's about getting over that and getting into a habit of what your diet actually looks like and that routine. Sorry guys, I'm just going to see if Greg is actually around. Ah, there you are. You're here. Yeah, hopefully you had you on. Oh, cool one. For some reason it was all delaying, so yeah, hopefully you're there. I think my Wi-Fi's got a bit funny. Just waiting to add you on, Greg. It says it's adding, it's adding, it's adding, so I'm hoping it is. If it's gonna work, come on, Facebook, don't let us down. Please work, please work. Is it happening? Give me a little hello. Is it working? I know Facebook has been going through quite a few changes recently, and people have been saying it's getting a bit glitchy. I've noticed in kind of some of the groups and that. So I have to say I haven't done a joint one, so I don't know whether that's going to be a problem. Doesn't seem to want to do anything. Oh, nope. I'm trying. Come on, Facebook. Yo, got it. Yeah.
We is in.
We is
How
in
are
is
you?
right. I didn't think it was gonna work at all there. I was like, man,
And look, I've got my headphones as well.
I know you're ultra organized today.
I know. Well, I'm actually in the middle of cleaning my
Cool.
my front room. I'm like, right, I'm gonna make sure my office is clear, get the right environment for me, and all that shizzle. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
How are you?
cool. So yeah, I was just waffling away to myself there for a little while whilst I was trying to get this set up. So it
Nothing
just
wrong with a
takes a little
waffle.
while. But yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good. Thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Always a
Yeah.
pleasure. So
Yeah, so like I said to any of our viewers, is it's just always good to get a different perspective. And as I said, we tend to we serve, very much the same sort of audience, and so it's nice to get the same perspective. And probably most of the time we'll probably end up doing things the exact same anyhow, I think so.
yeah, I
Maybe
think
you've
we've
got
all
a different language to it than I would have probably,
yeah,
but
but my language tends to switch right depending on who I'm speaking to. So if I'm talking to my
yeah.
parents, I start speaking like wagwan and ting and ting, so kind of that Jamaican
All
patois
right.
starts coming out, and then if I'm speaking to you, I'll be like, "So how is one?" Yes.
Very
Anyway,
much. Yeah, cool. So yeah, no, I think I just wanted to yeah, thanks for coming on, and we just thought there was a few things that were seemed to be quite topical over the last few days, and I thought, you know what, I know Greg's been looking at this as well, so I thought I'd bring you on as well so you can have a good old chat about it too.
yeah,
But yeah, so the kind of three things that I've been coming up about is around about, well, my one thing today is really was around about food tracking and kind of almost the perception that it seemed as, oh my god, it's calorie counting, no way, I'm not going to do that. um I think there is I've seen that a few times in how people talk about how calorie counting doesn't work or whatever. It just leads people down a wrong path, and they have to follow these, it's just another diet disguised as, the no diet type thing. But I kind of start to think that what's your views on it, shall I say?
right, okay,
What's
all
your
right.
thoughts?
Let me compose myself.
Hmm.
So first of all, here's my take. Everybody is on a diet. I don't care if you're not trying to lose weight or you're trying to gain weight or you're trying to just stay healthy. It is a diet. Whatever you eat, whatever you eat habitually is a
Yeah,
diet. Like seriously, this whole like, oh, it's not a diet thing just needs to die. Seriously.
yeah,
So from my point of view, um, the word diet came from the word dietetica, which actually just means way of living.
yeah.
So if you eat burgers and chips all day, that is your diet.
That's your diet. Yeah.
If you're on the carnivore diet or the keto diet, that's just your diet. Like, so every one of us is on a diet. I
Yeah.
think what happened was is that we got led down this path by marketing,
Hmm.
and marketing kind of, so when all these companies came up, because my last count, right, there was 130 odd different diet names, companies, and products, and that's
Yeah.
just a small drop in the ocean, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
So think about it. So they've all got their own rules. They've all got restrictions in them. So what happened
Hmm.
was people went, oh, okay, diet equals restriction. Which
Yeah.
now you have this whole thing of it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle and all that crap. Well, they actually mean the same thing. Um,
Yeah.
and I think what you've got now is you've got branded companies calling themselves lifestyle companies, which is just another load of crap to
Yeah.
sell the diet. It's all whatever you eat, that's your diet. Everyone's on a diet. There you go. Rant
And
over.
if you're looking for a weight loss diet, there's going to be a restriction.
In some way,
In some
shape, or
way.
form, if you need to lose weight, there's gonna be something that either you're doing now that's not serving you, and you're gonna have to do something different. So let's just
Yeah.
stop this whole it's a diet. I'm on a lifestyle. Shut up. You're on a diet. Seriously.
Or the other
Sorry.
thing I see, yeah, and I think sometimes it gives people a misconception, really, that they think that, oh, there's no diet culture or no diet lifestyle. It's almost like, oh, you don't, there's no diet culture, but at the end of the day, but then they want to lose weight, and I'm like, well, you're still gonna have to adapt or change in some way what you're doing if what you're doing now is not leading you to where you want to be. so so
Again,
instead
it's
of
I guess it's
instead of just
marketing
following
again, isn't it?
rules, just follow this, and this. Do you want to
But
maybe kind of
But they sound like
learn
rules,
why?
Julia. Like they sound like rules. I'm confused now. You've got me. So I'm going back to intuitive eating. So I mean, for example, the problem with like intuitive eating, like you say, this whole I've got no rules. I'm going to rely on how my body feels. It's awesome when you get to a certain stage that you can do that. But most
Hmm.
people, when you get on a bike, you need stabilizers.
Yep.
Stabilizers are MyFitnessPal potentially, or
Hmm.
habit-based rules, i.e., you're going to have protein at every meal, you're going to have a handful of veggies at every meal. They're rules to
Yeah.
follow to allow you to get to a place of, okay, I know when I'm hungry, I know when I'm full, I'm going to eat a more balanced diet. But at the
Hmm.
beginning, you don't eat that way, so you can't just start intuitive eating straight away. So
Yeah.
I see tracking your calories as more of a learning
It's an
stages first.
yeah, it's an education, isn't it? So
Yeah, but I guess I liken it to when people don't look at their bank account, right?
yeah,
So
that's what I
people
was.
will hide from what it's telling them, so they won't look at it, and then go, "I've got
Yeah.
no money." So
I don't want to look at my bank account in case I've got no money, but it's the same. I don't want to look at my diet. I don't want to look at what I'm eating every day because do you know what? I might find
ex-
out something that I don't want to know.
exactly something that goes against my beliefs
Yeah,
that I've
yeah.
created about food. So yes, I agree. There are people who have past relationship issues with MyFitnessPal, being orthorexic or obsessive about their diet, but by the same token,
Hmm.
I reckon that 99% of people will benefit from even a week of actually tracking their food, really.
Yeah,
And most people,
yeah,
let's be honest, don't really track their food.
yeah, yeah. Because it's
They
very
kind of
hard to.
semi-track. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah.
but even if he gives
It
you a
is.
ballpark, if he gives you a ballpark figure, then at least you know. Oh, hang on a minute, I've just had 100 grams of pasta. I didn't realize that was nearly 400 calories in one meal.
Hmm.
Without my pasta sauce, my cheese, my mushrooms, my tomatoes, and my little bit of garlic bread on the side that I always have.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
it creates that awareness, doesn't it? It just creates that awareness. And as well, my thinking as well, particularly with people that are finding them, like that maybe have a strong emotional attachment to eating and that, it may just stop them and interrupt that pattern for them by actually making them, as I
stop.
say, log it and write down something and going,
Hmm.
right, um, and being that honest. So it just interrupts that, as I said, that pattern that I'm feeling this way and I'm gonna
Eat.
eat whatever, all those biscuits. But if I
Hmm.
have to stop and think and make myself do something before I actually do that, then it's a good way to actually do that, to just interrupt.
Yeah, totally. I think half the problem is that we react to things rather than respond. So, like you said, writing down your food or tracking it on MyFitnessPal just makes you stop and think.
Hmm.
Oh, hang on a minute. I'm about to indulge in 4 glasses of wine and whatever. Let me put that in, and I might just have two.
Be
Rather,
happy with that,
but it's
absolutely.
giving you that chance to respond to it rather than just go, yeah, yeah, chuck it down. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's an awareness creation tool, definitely.
Absolutely, and I like what you said there, Greg, as well about it's taking you on a journey. People want to dive into things like intermittent fasting or intuitive eating and everything else, but I think you've got to learn. It depends on how you've got to where you are, and maybe a lot of people, and certainly a lot of women. I'm not saying men don't, but I know a lot of women because that's who we kind of work with. Have been on and off diets, and like you said, most women have been on and off diets for a long, long time.
Hmm.
And because of that, the rules that come with various different ones probably just clouds their education a little bit, or and I think starting there and starting to actually understand and learning that, or giving yourself that education again, and then when you get to a point, like I've done that myself, I'm at a point now where I think actually I know how to eat. I know if I want to change my body shape or want to improve my body composition in some way, then
Hmm.
I know, well, it doesn't have to be improving as such, but if I want to drop body fat, I know what I need to do. So, but aside from that, but I know if I start to want to eat loads of stuff, then there's probably a lot more going on than actually just being, well, hungry.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think sometimes people should use like just a pen and paper and write down, right, so I ate this food, but what was my mood like? What was my
yeah,
energy like? What happened just before that? So it's almost like a self-journal tool.
yeah.
So obviously we've got this whole wellness movement now, which I think is really good, and they're all telling people to journal. Well, journal your food.
Hmm.
Journal your food, and you're in it because
As
the
well as
food
your
is part of
thoughts.
your life. Yeah, but they're very closely linked. We know that psychology and hunger and all that stuff are very, very closely linked. So
Yeah,
to shy away from the food means you're missing out a big portion of the whole journaling cycle, personally. Um,
yeah, yeah,
and I
totally,
think I think the
totally.
problem with tracking your food is actually this. It's not sexy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. There's not like this whole big headline about, oh, if you follow this rule and cut this food out, you're going to drop a dress size in 2 seconds. Um,
yeah,
but I guess what we want to do is we're trying to teach people how to get results for life.
yeah,
So that awareness factor is always the first thing. Um, you
yeah.
don't try and do your 9 times table straight away. You learn how to do 2 times 2, 1 times 2 before you get to 9 times table. This is, yeah, that's the beginning of it, as far as I'm concerned.
And we do it that because we know that it works. We have seen it happen, and we know how to, we've seen those little breakthroughs with people, haven't we? So,
Yeah,
just
and
by
it's when you get those
doing.
aha moments, when you get a message from a client and they go, "Oh my God, Greg, I was about to eat this and I thought it was healthy." Um, yeah, that's a real big one for me. I love when I get those messages like, "Oh my God, I went to Nando's and I just put this in and I've realized it's 700 calories, even though it's healthy,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
people don't see that. Um,
yeah,
but I think there is also this other movement that calories are not real or calories don't matter is a real big
yeah,
one at the minute. You see that? You must see that a lot in people.
yeah. It's like, um, yeah, you do see that, and it's almost like people don't want to believe that. They want to believe that there's maybe something else going on, you
Hmm.
know. It's
Insulin.
and you know, it's what's that?
Insulin.
Well, it's a hormone driven. Yeah, I've seen that. And, you know, oh, it's
Hmm.
hormonal. There's nothing I can do about it. There's no, you know, it's not about calories and things like that.
Yeah.
It's
Man
and I was like,
calories. It's about
I
it's
think
about
differently.
sins.
Yeah, it's about since say. So yeah,
Yeah.
and one thing I do see a lot more and more again is the keto diet. Now I actually thought that was going on. I'm not on Instagram that much, I have to say, so but I am starting to see it a lot on other social media platforms as well. And I was just like, really? Wow. Okay. So, but then I'm like kind of again, but I'm seeing the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, I did that a few years ago. It worked really well, but I might get back to it, and you know, and I'm like, yeah, you're kind of missing the point there. It's not.
But I guess,
It's another name for something,
we
but it's not
yeah,
really.
we get suckered in, don't we? We suckered
Hmm.
in by the befores and afters. And obviously it's a hard one for us because obviously in our industry people want to see that before and after.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and obviously you see these really fast transformations when people go keto. The question I want to ask people is what happens in the 12 weeks after keto?
Hmm.
Like, are you still keto? Or have you gained another 10 pounds because, you know, you just like crave carbs all of a sudden again because you weren't allowed it before?
Yeah.
Um, and I think also just people need to really understand the science behind a lot of these things. We know that going keto potentially isn't beneficial for most sports or most athletic activity. So,
Yeah.
you know, why? And also, we know that glucose is the founding energy source for everything we do. So, again, why drop your carbs? Mind build,
Yeah.
mind, yeah.
And it's quite to truly get to ketosis, it's like, you know, you've really gotta go ultra low, like carb, for like a good probably 3 weeks, I think, before you really actually hit
Yeah.
ketosis. I could be wrong. I have to say I have to read up again on it a little
Do
bit
you
more.
know what?
My
Don't.
biology on it has gone somewhat.
Don't. Save your time and put it into your client. Seriously, don't do it. Yeah, so I mean, look, it's 25. I think it's 25 grams of carbs a day.
Yeah, yeah,
Now that is miserable. Like that means that the pasta I'm gonna have tonight, I can't have. I just have to
yeah.
literally just have the meatballs and some cheese. Yeah, no, thank you.
Because I
No, thank
wonder
you.
how, you know, with people with kids, with families and stuff, how they would manage that. It would just like, yeah,
Well, this is where you get into the realms of, oh well, you know, I'm doing keto, but the rest of the family are eating normal, so they have to make two
yeah,
meals.
yeah,
Crazy, crazy,
yeah,
crazy, crazy.
yeah.
And the kids see
So
that, and that's the other thing is that the kids see that. So later on, we get this whole effect of, oh well, I saw mum doing that,
yeah,
so that means I must live it as well, which is not sustainable.
mm.
No, no.
Yeah. You just wouldn't know how it would play out in the long term, like with someone
Yeah.
with the kids and that. So
Hey, the
absolutely.
kid, yeah,
Or
the little
why?
ones see things.
Yeah, yeah. Why is mommy always different? Or do
Exactly,
something
exactly.
different.
And why is she always
Yeah.
tired?
Yeah. Doesn't
Or
want to do anything. Yeah,
yeah, or why is
absolutely.
her menstrual cycle stopped? Well, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Can't think clearly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
Brain fog, all that stuff. Yeah.
There you go, folks.
Just
If you
track your
want
daily
to do
calories,
keto diet,
people.
yeah, okay, but it's not fun. It's not pleasant.
I think,
And you
like,
can have cards, and you can still lose weight, and you can still feel good, and you can still. I've done a low carb before. I have done low carb. I've done like a carb cycling program
mm,
um before, where I only had like whole grain carbohydrates, or like complex carbohydrates after workout,
yeah,
and that was it.
yeah.
No other time. And I did that, and I did actually lose, you know, a fair amount of weight, but I'm actually in better shape now because I'm actually in better shape now than what I was then. Because I look
Mm.
back on photographs, even though I was lighter, I don't think I was really that. leaner,
Well,
shall I say?
but if you want muscles, you need to fuel it, right? It's
Yeah,
hey, muscles need protein, but they need their carbs too.
yeah,
And I think and also you can get thyroid damage if you go too low carb. Often people get thyroid dysfunction as well.
uh-huh.
So there's just no bit. I think here's the question I'd ask anyone who wants to go keto: is A, check the science. B, let's look at the world and let's look at how many professional athletes are really religiously using keto, and there's a reason for that. Um,
Mhm.
and how's it going to fit your life? And is it really necessary, or could you just not have 100 grams of pasta? Maybe you have 50 grams of pasta
Yeah,
and get the
yeah.
same result.
Well,
There you go.
exactly. And, you know, maybe not have a full bottle of wine on a Friday night, have half a bottle.
Yeah.
It's just, it's making those minor changes, and people don't, it's sometimes, yeah.
Well,
And,
it's that
and,
whole
and that's what
mental.
it is. It doesn't have to be a big dramatic change, does it? So,
Well, we get these, don't we? It's like, I've got to change my life now, and I'm going to gym 5 times a week, and I'm going to eat no carbs ever. And yeah, I'm going to be like a machine, beast mode, rah, rah, rah. And yeah, that's it. You just don't feel it. You just
yeah,
don't see it. I
yeah,
just don't see the
absolutely.
point. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we go. So
God,
we,
is this someone that you know, Eileen Geegan?
yeah. So
No knee
Eileen,
pain, no hip pain, she says.
oh, so Eileen's awesome. So I'll just quickly interlude. She's 58. Um,
Yeah,
she's dropped like whatever 20 pounds or so. She's awesome. Trains like a trooper. It's
yeah,
crazy as. But again, and also, obviously she would have been through menopause, but she's still eating carbs.
yeah.
And that's a real big one. I think often women who go through menopause get told no carbs, and that's
Mhm.
not necessarily the case.
Yeah,
You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's because I suppose because of going through it can create more insulin resistance basically than
Hmm.
well, you become less sensitive basically whilst you're going
Yeah,
through that change, don't you? And I suppose that's kind of what they say. Yeah.
but you don't
But
need
we're
to
not going
cut
to go
them
into
out
insulin.
totally. Yeah, yeah. But I think for ladies, I think I'm sure you've got some ladies as well that are kind of perimenopause or
Yeah.
postmenopause or going through it. You don't need to have carbs, and I know Eileen likes her potatoes. So for
Hmm.
me as a coach to say no potatoes is just gonna go against our whole culture, and that's just no. That's just no, 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 no.
It's in our genes, isn't it? Probably with a name like
Exactly,
that.
exactly that, exactly that. So yeah, and also yeah, she's got she's overcome knee pain, hip pain. She's
Awesome.
just had yeah, and 58 and walks miles.
Rocking it. Nice.
Yeah,
Love it.
but it's
Love it.
doing basic stuff. She tracks her food when she needs to,
Yeah.
trains properly,
Yeah.
listens to me now and again.
E-
There you go.
Excellent.
Voila. So yeah.
Easy.
So
That's all
fat
I need.
shaming. Quick, should we go on to fat
Yeah,
shaming?
yeah, that's the other one as well. That's the one
Yeah.
that's been coming up a lot. And yeah, and I was just reading. I was reading. It was a Ben Coomber's kind of response to James. So James Corden did a response to was it Bill Maher that was on these
Yeah.
TV shows and about fat shaming and about how basically he thinks that people should be he said shamed into losing weight, I think, really, or doing something about it, really.
Mm.
And James Corden came back with his take on it and how he's someone who's always had that struggle, I guess, if you like, or maybe he's got to a point now where he's just gonna he's good because he's got so much going on that he's not it's not a pursuit for him anymore type of thing. But and and he was speaking about it, and there seems to be, and now I've seen another thing today with on it was on Good Morning, and Piers
Oh
Morgan
Lord.
now saying that he that he wants to be fat shamed. So it's like thinks that the society's gotten too soft, and I was like, I
Well,
personally don't even like the terminology to be honest, and yeah, I
I
don't know,
think
it just doesn't sit.
it's a
Sounds
really hard
horrible,
one.
but of
Yeah, it's a really. I think it's a really hard one. So my
course
thoughts are
nobody should be
this.
mean to anybody else. Nobody should be calling anybody else anything.
Yeah, just don't be mean unless you want to go to some stupid boot camp in Essex. I've heard about this where they actually literally like drive you into the ground just mentally and physically, and you come out 5 pounds later after a weekend, and you're like, yes, this is
Oh
amazing.
wow. What is it,
Yeah,
SAS training or something or?
yeah, it's really horrible. I'll have to tell you, I'll have to send it to you one day. But I
Right,
think
right.
the challenge with this whole fat shaming thing for me is that there's a couple of issues.
Yeah.
So one, we all know that if people are overweight, there are potentially health issues that come along with it.
Yeah.
And I think we should be honest about that and say, look, if someone is overweight, unhealthy, and doesn't exercise, doesn't sleep well, etc.,
Yeah.
if we should be happy, comfortable enough to point out the challenges that come with that, but by the same token, we should never be making people feel ashamed
Yeah.
of the size they are, because that's
Yeah.
not going to help anybody. It doesn't make them want to go and get in the gym. It doesn't make them. It just makes them feel worse. Um,
Yeah.
and I think shame is. I can't remember who told me. Someone told me it was a Richard. I don't know if it's Rich Wellington or another Richard Fletcher. He told me that in a book it says that shame is actually the biggest emotion. This is why people commit like, things like suicide and stuff because of shame.
Yeah.
So to shame people into getting into shape is not going to be the one.
No, no, definitely not. Definitely not. And I think as well, though, I think there's a balance of being supportive, but yeah, absolutely. You know, nobody should feel that they are, are being judged in any way or,
Hmm.
for their choices. But at the same token, then, there is a choice that you're making as well. So, to remember that everyone is responsible for what they do as well. So, and I think as well, I've noticed a big growing of the body positivity movement and things like that. But again, I think it's at the opposite end of the spectrum. It's almost like, you know, there are still health implications to being in a larger body size. So, but then telling people, oh, it's okay to be that way. It's okay to accept yourself. There's a balance there as well. I think to be had. It should be, yes, be acceptance, but be empowered to
Yeah,
put your health as a priority, though not at the cost of your health. I think is the way I would put it.
yeah, totally. I
Um,
think oh man, it's so hard. Like,
yeah.
but the one thing I've always told my clients is this: whenever you start the journey, love yourself as you are, because if you don't love yourself as you are, when you lose weight, get into shape, whatever you do, you won't love yourself then. So, yes, by
Mhm.
all means, love yourself, value yourself.
Yeah,
However, I
you're
do feel,
important. Yeah.
yeah, you are important, but I think there's also that point of, and obviously it's a lot more complex than this, I'm sure, but there is that bit about, well, if you value yourself, then do things that help you value yourself more. Eat
Mhm.
well, look after yourself, etc. And I think a lot
Mhm.
of people that are overweight potentially have issues around their value and their worth for
Yeah.
whatever reason. Something's happened in the past, etc., etc. And
Yeah.
that's, but even someone who's, just carrying a few extra pounds, often they won't put themselves first, they'll self-destruct, etc., etc. So we all do it. It's
Mhm.
just some of us have more body fat than others.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know. I've been quite open about my own thing, person. I've been there.
Mm.
I've used and abused alcohol and whatever else, and I've put on lots of weight because of it. But I was never. I would probably to anybody else, I wouldn't be classed as someone that was ever in a larger body frame. But for me, I was, that was being overweight, and
I
but
think that's I think that's something that we forget to tell people as coaches, that at some point we've all had our own struggles.
yeah,
It's probably something we should share more. I was like, I think I was about 18 stone. There's a picture of me in a suit, and I'm big. I'm big.
yeah,
And I was always into sport from about the age of 10, 12. I was always into sport. And then at some point during my college years, I ate too much fried chicken, no carbs, and then I got fat.
yeah, yeah.
So we've all been, a lot of us PTs and coaches have been there. So we do
Yeah,
understand how it feels to some degree.
exactly. And it was just, and for me, it was low self-esteem, it was low self-worth, it was low, I was just
Hmm.
accepting and feeling that this is my life is shit and I don't like it and this is how it's gonna
So,
be.
so
So,
Elite,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll eat and drink and whatever else. So what would you? And then I never really exercise, so it's those things. But but even for yourself, then, Greg, and that's what I think that's what Piers Morgan point was like. Oh yeah, people should be shamed into, and hopefully that'll trigger them into doing something about it. And I'm like, because I think people can beat themselves up enough without someone else having
Hmm.
a go. But at the same token, it's not until you have to be ready to make that change. You have to be, and you have to decide when that is as well. It's no amount of anyone telling you on the outside.
Yeah, I
Anyhow,
mean,
so until if you're ready to change. And I don't know about you, like when did you decide to
oh dear,
that you had to do something, or when did you decide that?
you're trying to get me all vulnerable now. All
I'm
right,
just well,
so I
you
think,
well, you said there most of us have all got some sort of we have got a backstory and we have got a point where we started to change, and
mm,
it doesn't just change overnight, does it? Like it
no
changes over for a course of
period.
10 years, if you like, for myself. Like it's.
Do you know what? I can't remember exactly what it was. Like I can't remember, like you said, the one specific moment that it went.
Mm,
But I think what happened was I was getting ready for a night out with the boys, as you do back in the day.
mm,
Um, and I got out of the shower and I just went, "Oh wow!"
yeah,
Like, what happened to you, kind of thing. And I put my clothes on. And I think we actually, like, we went. I think we went to like Bristol or somewhere like that, and we went shopping. And all my clothes were like extra large or whatever. And I was like, "This has got to stop. I can't.
yeah,
I don't. I think it was. I don't need to live like this. I don't have to." But one of the things I did do, I got a coach. Is what I
yeah,
did. Was one of the
yeah,
biggest things for me was I got someone to a call me on my BS, b give me a path and a plan. Um, so I think that was probably the biggest change to go right. Let me get a coach. Um,
yeah,
and I think people are often scared of failing, but I think
hmm
having a coach makes life so much easier.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it does, and even all of us, we have coaches. Coaches need coaches. There's no amount of learning or guidance that everybody needs at some
Mm.
point. So, and it's about reaching out for that when you need to, isn't it? So it's like, yeah, and it's never an ending point. There might be a stopgap at some point when you think, right,
Oh,
I'm okay, I'm good for a bit, but then you'll decide to do something else, and then
and you're going to try and learn something else, and guess what? You're going to need a
yeah,
coach. Um,
absolutely,
we're always
absolutely,
learning from everyone else. So, yeah, I think if people like look, get a friend that's going to hold you accountable. If you can't afford to have a coach, there are going to be people like that. But
hmm
I would suggest get a professional who knows what they're doing, who can look at you objectively rather than subjectively, because I think that's
yeah,
that's the one thing that happens is we all have this cognitive bias. But that's for another topic. And and you know what as well? Pay. I think this is the big thing. I'm just going to be honest with people. Um, Often paying out to help you get into shape feels like a self-indulgence, which is why people don't do it. Um, and it comes back to valuing self.
hmm
Um, and I think if you've got kids, or whatever, and you're saying, well, look, I've invested myself in a coach or a program, whatever that may be, you're showing your
hmm
kids that actually it's important to value yourself. So
yeah,
I think people see it as a self-indulgence. Um,
yeah,
but then or they go, oh, I can't afford it, and then they'll sink a grand into a Mulberry handbag.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
But their nails look amazing.
yeah. I think that's a big one, isn't it? Yeah, my nails look amazing. I've got the latest handbag, but I'm I'm not going to invest in myself. Um, and the
Yeah,
biggest breakthroughs happen when you're healthy, happy, and fit.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You may realize that you don't need that special handbag.
Well, yeah, because you're happy within yourself, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
happy with your body, happy with your health, and everything gets better when you're healthy and fit, right?
absolutely. And everybody benefits.
Yeah.
And I'm not, yeah. Not right.
Yeah.
Everyone
Well, yeah.
benefits. So
You're
cool.
more likely to go for promotion. You'll get more productive at work. You'll have more energy.
Mhm.
No brainer.
Yeah. More you give out more. You'll radiate out more out to the world, and it'll come back to you tenfold. So
Yeah. So
absolutely.
people watching this go and work with Gillian.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, on that note, Greg, I think we should wrap up. I don't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
know how long
sorry.
we've
Oh,
been
yeah.
chatting again.
Oh, no, we need to stop doing this. But yeah, so I just want to wrap up. So people track your calories. It's not obsessive. It's like checking your bank account. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's awareness. It's your stabilizers before you can ride the bike. For most people.
So,
Number two, sugar is not gonna kill you or make you fat. You eat sugar all the time. Number three, yeah, body
and you need
shaming.
it.
Yeah, you need it. Like, yeah, we need to stop demonizing sugar. But I reckon, I'm going to tell you this now. I reckon in the next 4 years, there's going to be a revolt against protein.
Oh yeah, of course. It's on the brink.
Well, we've done fats,
Yeah.
we've done carbs, but now we're really
Yeah.
singling out sucrose and fructose is what people are really singling out. But it's all sugar. So
Yeah.
protein is next,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then sugar will be okay because there'll be a sugar diet.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'll harness the power of your insulin to lose weight. Do you know what? I can see it coming. I think we
Oh
should
my
launch
word.
it first.
Yeah, get in there first.
Yeah,
No
first.
way, that sounds like a
So,
nightmare
yeah.
as well.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, there you
Cool.
go. All right.
Awesome. Well, thanks
All
very
right.
much, Greg.
Let's do it again
Thanks for your
soon.
time. Yeah,
No problem.
awesome. All
Talk
right.
soon.
Take
Bye
care,
bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
I'm just trying to end it here, folks.